people are people. So even South Africans, we have people who are messing up the country. But when it comes to like the shops and stuff, the government does nothing. In fact, they just take bribes and stuff, and the shop will still carry on. Like
something like a civil war happening in Johannesburg CBD.
And they're demanding stricter immigration controls, and that businesses that are being owned by undocumented foreign nationals must be closed. To those who much has been given, much will be required when you stand before God one day.
This is the Political Show.
Hey, and welcome to the Political Show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gigs, and with me in studio we have
Gavin Inslin,
Pastor Gavin Inslin, and
the Black Knight.
The Black Knight, right here on the Political Show, where Christ politics is
hot politics.
Hot politics, and this week's hot politics, we are speaking about something that most people know, but as we go into depth, a lot of people don't know.
Well, when I grew up, we were known for apartheid.
Yeah.
So I was a racist pig because I'm a white South African. All over the world. If we went anywhere, if white South Africans went anywhere in the world, we were racist pigs. Wow. Now we're xenophobic pigs.
Ish.
So I'm still a pig. Heading for 60, I'm still a pig.
That's hectic. You can run away from
Was
it.
there no way to differentiate between the white people that are against apartheid and the ones that are for in South Africa?
Only if you wanted to.
What do you mean?
If you didn't want to differentiate, if you just want to be like Julius Malema, then there's no way to differentiate.
Oh, yeah. Shame, it must have been hard for you.
Yeah, like the black people say shame.
Shame. Shame, it was hard for you. That's funny, sorry.
Yes,
I just had to ask about that.
That is what we're going to be speaking about. Well, that's not what we're speaking about. No, we're not speaking about that.
No, if I complain about white racism against whites, people go shame.
Oh, shame.
Yeah.
I say, what's Adam's son got to do with it?
We are going to be looking at.
That was funny.
We are going to be looking. That was a Christian joke. If you didn't get it.
If you're not a Christian, you won't understand. Read the Bible.
If you haven't read your Bible, you wouldn't get that one. But we are speaking about what's happening. So we're going to be looking at two perspectives. What's happening on the surface with the March and March protests and the xenophobic attacks. And then we're also going to be looking below the surface. What are they not telling us in terms of these, the war, I would say. There's a civil war, something like a civil war happening in Johannesburg CBD that they're not speaking about. And we are also going to be speaking about that. Pastor Gav, do you want to give a more brief explanation?
Yeah, just recently, in the last few weeks of April and going into May, there's obviously been this new movement called the March and March movement. And this has been organizing protests in Johannesburg and Pretoria. And they're demanding stricter immigration controls, and that businesses that are being owned by undocumented foreign nationals must be closed. And this is a huge issue in South Africa. It's not a small issue. And there's been significant tension, especially in the central business district of the city of Johannesburg, and it's involving foreign shop owners, particularly from what we're hearing, shop owners from Somalia and Ethiopia, plus local residents and local shop owners, and the taxi industry. And as a result of these things, and as a result of South Africans sort of getting squeezed out of the retail economy in these informal shops, there is a growing anti-immigrant sentiment that is spreading across South Africa. And it's not been helped by the fact that sometimes these shop owners are selling sweets and biscuits to kids, and then the kids are dying because there's poison there. Or the fact that, these guys have guns. There have been times when they've shot people who've been complaining, and stuff like that. So it's a real challenge. And I like the way that the media is putting it, that the situation is fluid. I like to say it's boiling.
Fluid is crazy.
When you put water in the kettle and it's boiling, and all those bubbles are coming up, and it's like about to be a volcano. That's actually what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that is what we're going to speak about. It's going to be a hot show, as always, right here in the political show where Christ Politics is.
Hot politics.
Hot politics.
Waiting.
So right now, the tensions in Johannesburg CBD, and we're speaking from the Johannesburg perspective because that is where we're at. The tensions in Johannesburg CBD.
We're from the Johannesburg OCBD.
CBD, outside.
The outskirts of the
Outskirts. I was close. I was thinking outside CBD, but yeah. What's this? And the tensions are really high. We obviously had the March and March protest that happened last week that spread fear amongst the foreign community. You know, it's a community that I am part of. So like messages were going around. People were not leaving their houses, and all of these things because of the tension in terms of the March and March protests. And there's a lot circulating online in terms of what's the reason. Is it just what's this? Is the xenophobic attacks just xenophobic attacks? Are they trying to protect the economy? Is it for public safety? And all of these things. And we're going to speak about this as well. We'll get Pastor Gavin and Black Knight's thoughts. But if you look at, there's a specific area, or there's a specific block, if I could put it that way, where it covers the small street. Now, if you go into small street, you can find anything. Like clothing wise, I know clothing wise. I don't know anything else that you can find there. But there's a lot.
Small street should maybe be called Big Street.
Yeah, but around there we also got two buildings called the Marble Towers, and in that specific block there are a lot of shops selling a lot of different things. So you've got retail stores selling clothing, you've got retail stores selling shoes, you've got them selling a whole lot of different things. But now when you look at the shop owners, majority of the shop owners are like Somalis, what's this? You've got Tanzanians, you've got Ethiopians, you do have South African shop owners as well, but majority of the people there are immigrants. And there have been serious tensions. Obviously, most of the tension has arisen because of the March and March protests. But what is not being spoken about in media is that it started before then. In fact, the first shooting I heard of that happened there was the weekend of Easter, the Easter weekend when shootings happened. And since then, there's been 7 deaths.
Okay, I just want to put this in context.
Yeah.
Donald Trump was talking about Chicago, where I think it's 6 people a week in the whole city. I think over 4 weeks there are 20 people, nearly 20 that were killed.
In 4 weeks?
Yeah, we're getting 7 killed in one street. And that's just those that are killed in these battles. We're not talking other murders now.
No, we are looking at one specific block.
There's one specific block with one specific type of murder.
Yes.
If some guy murdered his girlfriend, we're probably not talking about that murder here.
We are speaking
about... If it was a serial killer, we're not talking about that murder here.
Yeah.
Okay, just to put it in context for everyone that's not in South Africa, that doesn't live in Johannesburg. That's where we live.
We're looking at one specific block over a couple of weeks where, if from Easter weekend, we're celebrating next week Ascension Day. So less than 40 days.
Yeah.
Less than 40 days.
Less than 40, you're right.
Less than 40 days. Let me get my
theology right on the political side.
Less than 40 days we've had in one block 7 killings that are connected to the same thing.
in Small Street.
In Small Street with hits on
which
shop
is about
owners.
6 or 7 blocks.
And the only one that the media covered are the 3 that were killed last week Monday at a McDonald's in Small Street. And
That was about, what was it, the 28th or something of April?
yes, the 28th of April. And the media has not covered the other 4 deaths, shootings and stuff. And yeah, so basically that has been happening. And we'll speak about the reason and the speculations that are going around. So we'll speak about the speculations and the reasons just now. But yeah, the media is not covering this. And then on Monday, this past Monday, which was what was Monday's date? The 4th of May, there was actually a meeting that was held in Johannesburg CBD with the shop owners of this specific block, alongside the MEC and the
Which
police.
is like the cabinet minister for, which MEC was it for safety and security?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, so that's like your minister of police, but for the province.
Yes. All right. So you've
Or
got
the
the
head
MEC.
of the head of the FBI
So
in America.
exactly.
The equivalent for the Gauteng province. Not talking Johannesburg. So the person responsible for safety and security in Gauteng province was at this meeting.
Yes.
So a very senior government official.
Yeah. So you've got that, and
And it was
the
widely
police.
publicized in the media.
Nope.
No,
Nobody knew about it.
we only know because we have sources in Small Street.
Exactly. We know people who
We
are
know
there,
people
who
who
have
know people.
witnessed. Actually, one of the people was speaking about how one of the shootings happened a few shops away from theirs, and things like that. So yeah, so that's basically what's been happening. Pastor Gav, what are your thoughts on this situation?
Look, the South African people have been absolutely let down by their government. And when I listen to the nonsense these guys talk about in Parliament, I listen to the way that they insult each other. I listen to the things that they raise. I look at the rest of that one MP that we spoke about prior to this show, you know, in some months back, looking at the Madlanga Commission and the ad hoc Commission of Inquiry in Parliament, and the Member of Parliament, Fadeel Adams, who made a whole lot of accusations against General Mkonazi. He himself was arrested. So all of that is on the news, and Fadeel Adams is talking about how they're abusing the act, or this act and that act and the next act and every act under the sun of Parliament. And yeah, you get people that are being shot. And in terms of these incidents, you know, even when you go into Gemini, it talks about reports of isolated shootings. So I suppose if you want, you could say it's an isolated shooting if 1 to 4 people are being killed a week in one street of about maybe 6 or 7 city blocks. Right, just think about that for a second. Those are isolated shootings. Last week, as you said, Cynthia, there were 3.
Yes.
And now there's been more this week.
Yes.
Okay. And it seems like the rate at which these killings are happening is increasing. And yet it's not been discussed on the news.
I mean, the fact that the MEC is getting involved means that it's serious.
Well, the MEC, so your main safety and security police type government official, is coming along with senior, I'd imagine, police generals and people like that, you know, from the province. And you don't find it on Independent Online or ENCA. And if it is, it's somewhere where you can't find it. I'd like to say that this is also very telling on the media, and I think the media is covering for the government, because what's happening is you get these guys from Somalia. Now, I want you to understand Somalia. It's nothing for a guy to stand in the middle of a city street and shoot in the air with an AK-47. And if Julius Malema had done this in Somalia, he wouldn't have been arrested. He wouldn't be sentenced and on appeal, you know, to go to jail for a whole lot of years for shooting a weapon in public in the air. And so they talk about these isolated shootings involving foreign shop owners in the CBD and surrounding areas like Hillbrow. And reports surfaced of 3 foreign shop owners being killed in separate incidents. Wasn't that one incident?
It was one incident.
That was one incident. There've been about 7 in the last 3 weeks. And then they talk about it's happening in a tit-for-tat atmosphere. Now, we've got these minibus taxis, and the taxi industry we have spoken about before on the show. And the taxi bosses in Johannesburg are often at the center of the dispute because they are providing enforcement and patrols. They're providing a shadow police force. When they come across situations where they believe that foreign-owned shops are undercutting local businesses or are engaging in illegal trade, they have been known to raid the shops and demand protection money. But there's a history of Somali shop owners defending their businesses with high caliber firearms when threatened. So they're pulling out like an AK-47 or something. All right. Now, and these guys are here illegally. And by the way, it's illegal to have weapons in South Africa and issue licensed. Yeah. If you don't have documentation, you cannot have a gun license. Yet they're walking around with AK-47s. So for those in America might be watching the show that are into gun control, you can come and speak. We got full-on gun control here. All right. You got so much control that we should be gunned out of guns. You understand what I'm saying? And yet guys are walking around streets with AK-47s. And in past incidences, these standoffs have sometimes escalated into full-scale street battles between taxi operators and shop owners. And, there have been reports that we've been getting that sometimes the taxis are actually taking out some of the leaders, of the shop owners. And the taxi associations, Gemini says, often side with local vendors who claim that the Somali wholesalers and spaza shop owners are monopolizing the informal economy in the city center. And now, the SAPS, South African Police Services and Public Order Policing are on high alert in the Central Business District, and commuters are advised to avoid areas around the Gauteng Legislature and Park Station. Now, Park Station used to be a train station, still a train station, but no trains run there because half the train tracks in Johannesburg have been stolen, just to let you know. And it says here the situation is so severe that it has caused a spike in traffic at the Bombo border post, with Mozambican and other foreign nationals reportedly fleeing the country to avoid the unrest. Now, at the end of the day, I think we have discussed this briefly before. Your Somalis are coming here from a country that has been ripped apart by Islam and Islamic ideology. They are being brought in here along with South African Muslims and support of South African Muslims because they come from a country with no money, yet they are able to buy shops. And they're able to buy shops with monies in excess of 100,000 rand. They'll put shops on either side of a local South African owned shop, and they'll undercut the prices. And they'll sell goods at below cost in order to drive the South African out of business so they can take over that shop too.
Yep.
Now, the Muslims in South Africa have been conducting these tactics for many, many years. But now, there are videos surfacing where guys are saying that, and we're talking about Muslim guys related to one of the Muslim parties, they're claiming they're from one of the Muslim parties, saying that they need to bring in 15,000 Pakistanis and to get them to vote in the local government elections which have now been scheduled for the 4th of November 2026. So we're going to be voting for our city councillors and our mayors and those sorts of things all over South Africa on that day. Now, these guys are saying we need to bring 15,000 on these videos from Pakistan to come to vote to support the Muslim party. Now, how do you come to South Africa from Pakistan in May 2026 and then vote in November 2026? These videos are circulating around.
Yeah. And
people are talking about xenophobia and those sorts of things. But no one's talking about this.
Yeah.
As I said to Giggs is Congolese. Most South Africans I know do not have a problem with people like Giggs. But when you start talking about these shop owners and people carrying high caliber firearms and they're not even legally documented to be in South Africa, is a massive issue and across the color spectrum of the South African people. And probably even people like Giggs are going to massively complain about this. Now, just to give you can dispute if I'm wrong with that, Giggs, but you don't like the Patriotic Alliance because of their stand on their legals, correct?
Yes.
But in spite of that, you're not happy with this situation.
No. Yeah.
With what's going on with these shops and that. And you want the government to sort this out.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to tell you, people like Giggs, and there's lots of people like her that have been born in this country that cannot get papers. I'm so against that. I'm so angry that a so-called liberation movement, the ANC, has passed laws that makes it impossible for these people to get papers when they were born here. As far as I'm concerned, they're South Africans. So, I've had refugees living in my house before. But I would have supported Donald Trump building the wall. Just to give you a perspective on my take. I want there's a lot of people we need to investigate things and we need to get documentation for. And then there's a lot of these shop owners they need to humber, they need to leave the country. Okay, that's my opinion. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I'm sorry if I get us into trouble. I think we won't get a strike on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Black Knight, what are your thoughts?
I know Black Knight loves the Somalian Pakistani. I've heard him before.
Oh, okay.
If they were running, if they were able to run as a candidate, he'd vote for them.
I think, like once again, if we actually have to go to, I think we've done probably 1 or 2 shows about this. My stance will still stand as the fact that, the problem that I have with this whole immigrants and all of that, they look at the wrong people, like Pastor Gavin just alluded now. When we're talking, when South Africans right now think xenophobia or immigrants, they'll think literally black Africans. That's what they're gonna think. They won't think anyone else. And that is the problem that I have, because those are not the people. What I see, obviously, at the end of the day, people are people. So even South Africans, we have people who are messing up the country, and they are South Africans also, but not.
They're primarily in Parliament.
Whoa, nice! I didn't see. Nice one, Pastor. You deserve a clock for that.
Hopefully we
The clock is crazy.
The previous comments will get us banned off YouTube, and this one will get us shot.
Back. Oh yes, we'll need security also after this. We'll be fearing for our lives. So I think that's the problem, the biggest problem I have, because once again, I know a lot of, like, my family and my friends who are South African, who we like have friends who are so close to us and so dear to us. They are foreign nationals, so we like
Congolese, Nigerians, Mozambicans, Zimbabweans.
name them. So things like that. You see, we wouldn't agree to something like this, because the people we know, it's not what they are talking about. And then now when it gets to the Somalians, the government doesn't put his nails and stuff in it. In fact, when it comes to the black Africans, the government will leave people like your Tutulas and whatever movement will just come up out of nowhere to come and patronize people who are just normal citizens. But when it comes to like the shops and stuff, the government does nothing. In fact, they just take bribes and stuff, and the shop will still carry on. Like we've had a lot of, in fact, in just in my block, I've had a lot of cops coming in. You think that the shop is closing, you're like, yeah, finally, the government, tomorrow, guess what? It's open again. You know what I mean? And then from there onwards, you just see one van coming almost every month. So we already know what that means. They're on the payroll now. So the government ain't doing nothing when it comes to these guys. So that's where my problem is, because they bring up foreign problems or whatever on the TV, and they're going to blame the normal people that we live with as they are the problems, but it's truly not them. The problems are the people who are running our economy, which is, we have like our economy, I think it's separated like township economy, and there's
there's the formal and the informal economy.
Formal, yes. So they will run the huge part actually of the informal economy,
which I think is bigger. I think the informal economy is bigger than the formal economy.
I think I'd also have the same view. And you see these guys just running these things, and like even in fact with the with the ICE thing, Trump would also say the same thing, that the guys would come. The guy just came now to the country, and then 2 minutes he's driving a Mercedes. He's living in the best place in America. So and then we see the same thing happening here. That the guys will just come in. Next thing you know, they're driving Mercedeses, and then they're living in like the best areas, and then they already own that land, and then it's like, what's happening? How did y'all just get here now, and then you'll just own things like this? So you can tell that the government is literally behind this, and now that this March and March thing is happening, and now they're actually going for just for now they are going for the Pakistanis and all of that, which I think that will cause like war for real, because once again, these guys are loaded with guns, with machetes and all of that, and
but
yeah.
In your opinion, are the South Africans going to stand back?
No. And
if they start shooting people, what's going to happen?
Oh, that's going to be... In fact, I believe that this March and March, it's all the way. It's also a remnant of what's happening in Durban with the taxi drivers and the Muslims. They're in Durban because they're actually killing each other a lot. In fact, 2020 we were having, when it was on the news, even Kwanazi spoke about that. The war, I believe it's still happening till today. And the March and March guys were actually people coming from KZN, and they're also coming here. So I think it has to do with that. But also, yeah, so my problem with this talk with immigrants and stuff is that when the media leads it, it's gonna make people look at the other people and not look at the real people who are causing the damage to the country. So that is my biggest problem with this.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, like Black Knight mentioned, is what the media is covering versus what the media is not covering. There's obviously something deep. And as we were speaking, especially going back to what Pastor Gav mentioned in terms of the fact that they want to bring 15,000, Pakistanis and stuff like that, so that they can vote. Is, if you look, I mean, we've been speaking about it for quite some time now, how many mosques are being built in our neighborhoods and illegally
without parking. If we want to build a church, you have to have 40 parking for every 100 chairs.
Very strict on the rules.
Our country is not even like that Muslim, but most of our shops are catering for halal.
Yes.
And we're not even like, our country 80% is Christian.
85.
And if you actually understand, especially if you're looking at the buildings and stuff, for every, I don't really know the numbers, but there's a specific amount of Muslims that have to be within a community for them to then build a mosque. So when you see all of these mosques being built, it starts asking you, especially like Black Knight mentioned, we are a majority Christian nation. Start asking the question, where are these Muslims coming from, and how are they getting here? And
I didn't actually know that you need numbers to build a mosque. I didn't know that.
They break all the rules, so I don't believe that.
Yeah, because like there's places I know there's not a lot of Muslims, and there's a mosque already there.
Yeah, and then people come out the woodwork to the mosque.
Exactly. So so those are my thoughts. Pascal, what are your final thoughts?
Corrupt people cause problems, and I don't see the DA solving this problem either. God bless Helen Ziller and her clan. I know the Patriotic Alliance, they're talking big. I doubt that. I don't know if they're going to solve this. Action SA saying they're going to solve it, but we'd have to see if they get into power, and I think they're going to get some additional support because Herman Mashaba, the leader of Action SA, has come out very strongly against illegal immigration. But basically the challenge goes back to two things. Number one, the elites in South African society, whether they're in politics or in business or in academia, by and large carry an anti-Christian sentiment. And when the ungodly rule a nation, the people suffer. So that's problem number one. And number two, the elite structures in South Africa are doing their own thing for their own benefit. And they're not listening to the masses of the people. And so the people do not want unfettered illegal immigration. The people do not want the government to allow people into South Africa that are coming here with the express aim, and it's public knowledge. You can go and find out about this. Go look at the real aim of people like Gift of the Givers. Go listen even to South African Muslims. Even South African Muslims have been in government. This has been their stated aim for years. They want to turn South Africa into an Islamic country. They cannot do it with the people in South Africa. Yeah. The people in South Africa support the church and respect the church too much. Yeah. There's too much respect for the Lord Jesus Christ in South Africa amongst the people. There are precious little politicians in the South African Parliament and in the political structures in South Africa, and there are precious little people in the major corporate business structures within South Africa and in academia within South Africa that support what the majority of the people support. And so the Muslims are importing followers in order to be able to turn South Africa into an Islamic state. Unlike with Britain, South Africans, they love Jesus, but they love guns and they love knives and they love pangas and machetes and all sorts of stuff like that. So there's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, for sure.
If the politicians do not step up and do their job, there's going to be a big problem. And it's quite frustrating. And I mean, we're having gun battles in the middle of city streets now.
Yeah.
So it's getting worse.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line, it's going to boil over.
Yeah.
And then either these foreigners that have come in are going to overcome the South African people, or they're going to get wiped out.
Yeah.
But someone's going to lose. At the end of the day, someone's going to lose. And so, we really need to turn back to the word. And the ANC, when they came into power, promised that through them the people shall govern. Well, ANC, DA, it's about time we see that the people govern.
Yeah.
Can you please get rid of your anti-Christ views and start listening to the people, the majority of whom in this country are Christians?
Black Knight?
Yeah, my final thoughts on this is just we're gonna have people dying at the end of the day. We're gonna have people dying.
Well, it's already happening, Black Knight.
Okay, but I think now it's gonna.
But maybe more. Okay.
Now it's gonna be rampant because also the march guys.
Yeah, but anywhere else in the world, I just want to ask you, if they have 7 people dying in a 3-week period in 6 city blocks of one street, will most of the world not call that mass killings?
Yeah, they will.
They would, yeah.
They will.
Sorry, carry on.
So, and then once again, when was it when the Pakistani shops were being vandalized, and then there was that one guy in Alex who was burned alive? So what I'm saying is that the government knows what the people are gonna do. So
they're not unaware.
Yeah, and they had to run a whole campaign after they saw the people of Alex burning someone alive with tires and stuff because of what the people believe. And once again, you saw how the South Africans, now this is just me speaking to the ANC, even though they're not going to do anything, but you saw how South Africans fought during apartheid, and kids and people were not scared to die. And once again, that's what I'm saying. People are not scared to die for what they believe. And it looks like that's what's going to happen now. So, yeah, government best do something very, very quick because, there's going to be like serious war.
And they will have blood on their hands.
Yeah.
In Ephesians 5 verse 13 and 14 it says, "But everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light. That is why it is said, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you."
That's important. And, with all these situations, the news gets out in a way that is dishonest. And everything's clouded with secrecy and a veil, and you don't hear the truth. People are talking about these xenophobic South Africans, and I've seen, because I've been in other places in the world, South Africans are incredibly hospitable. There's very few places around the world that do not have more hospitable people than South Africa. Now, obviously, you get criminals and you get murders, and there's a lot of violence and all of that sort of stuff, and that we wish would change, but it will only change through the gospel. But the fact of the matter is they're being abused by their government. And allowing the country to be overrun like this has been an act of treason on the part of many of the elites of South Africa. And the true light needs to be shone on that, because we're supposed to be a democracy where people are supposed to be free and they're supposed to have freedom of expression and all of these sorts of things. And yet, whilst the government wants to clamp down on the church, create all sorts of regulations for the church, puts in motion hate speech legislation that sort of outlaws parts of the Bible and all sorts of despicable laws like this. Wants to put in place the climate change bill, and seriously impact people's lives with CO2 emission stats and all sorts of things like that. But when it comes to something basic, which is a basic responsibility of any government, and that is to protect the sovereignty of the nation and to protect the borders, and to make sure that the citizens are safe, and to make sure that the citizens, are free to live out their God-given purpose. The government has let the people down, and the light needs to be shone on this. And what I want to say to those of you that are in Parliament, you need to start looking at this. I get tired of your squabbles. I really get tired of your squabbles. You're squabbling about nonsense when there's issues like this going on. You're squabbling about nonsense when at the end of the day there is an entire CRL commission that has set up a Section 22 committee with the aim of specifically regulating the church. I thought the Constitution of South Africa says there shall be no discrimination based on religion. Yet that's exactly what is being touted here by people that have been put in place by politicians. And so at the end of the day, you need to come back to Christ yourselves. You guys, many of you grew up in church. You need to come back to the Lord Jesus Christ, because to those who much has been given, much will be required when you stand before God one day. And so I am saying to the politicians of South Africa, you are going to stand before God. You are going to give an account for your life. And so I strongly request that you take that into account when you deal with the people through the positions of power that you've been entrusted with through the vote. And that you guys will start doing the right thing and stop making things unsafe for South Africa's women and children like you have done.
This has been an amazing show. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you can call me Gigs. And with me in studio we've had
Gavin Inslin,
Pastor Gavin Inslin, and
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight, right here on The Political Show, where Christ politics is
Hot politics.
Hot politics.